It's been a bit of a downer this week, eh?
But well, your foot's pretty cooked.
Yeah. So
looks
I
gross.
landed on my ankle. We'll throw a photo up. Viewer discretion is advised. Unless you're a nurse. Nurses love seeing photos and videos of ailments and things like that. Like as soon as I did it, I was like, "You got a photo?" I was like, "Yeah, have a
Is
look."
that just like a lead magnet for you to get a girlfriend?
Yep, 100%. Who wants to see my up ankle? Landed on it on Tuesday night playing beach volleyball, which I've been playing for the last 4 years injury-free, and clearly age is just catching up with me. Insert ridicule there, Ben.
That's all right.
Nothing. Save it for later.
Nice.
Cool.
Oh, he went the wise.
Yeah. Once the videos are recording, he's like, "No, I'm not going to kick you while you're down, man."
Kicks you under the table.
Torn 3 out of the 4 ligaments in my ankles. So anyone in the medical world will know that that's pretty shit. Or anyone.
I mean, that's
outside of it.
75% of your ligaments in your foot.
It is. So it's not ideal. So I currently have a very fashionable moon boot on. Waiting to get the full report on Monday and find out how long I'll have to rock that bad boy.
Do you need a new foot? Like
potentially. Might go to the second-hand store. Close enough.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, I'll do a second foot store. Yes.
It's pretty shit. It's all purple and swollen and gross, and I've a cankle.
So that's been like the highlight and low light of your week.
Yeah, well, like I did it Tuesday night, was walking on it, doing open homes and inspections and things like that all day Wednesday.
You're still doing
had
it.
taped.
Did you?
Yep.
What? So you taped it up, put your shoe on.
Raw dogged it. Because I was thinking, I was like, this is going to be so good if it's broken, because when you broke your rib, you just kept living your life. I was like, cool, I'm going to tear 3 ligaments in my ankle and just business as usual. No, I'm different. I'm him. So,
I'm proud of you.
Thanks,
you
man. Probably done irreversible damage.
To your foot,
because I have an ego. So ego isn't the enemy. It isn't dead. That was been just absolutely cash money. So awesome. But how about you guys?
Yeah, how's your week been?
It's been.
Any
pretty
physios out there? Hit me up.
No, I did this JCU Heroes in Business.
Yes. How'd you get onto that? That's awesome.
Thing. I got asked.
Oh, cool.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Did you? I didn't have enough time.
Oh, really?
No, because I'm not using my degree anymore.
Wait, what? Oh.
They reached out to me like, hey, you want to come to Heroes in Business? I was like, I'm neither in business or a hero, so...
I was going to say, like, can we talk about your one?
Yeah.
If you'd like to.
Oh, you in Heroes in Business too?
We did a JCU Open Day.
Yeah.
And I was invited to speak, and I didn't go to JCU, and I also didn't get a degree. So it was a really good vetting process before that.
Shout out Callan for
the plug.
It's great. That was the same with Rosie, because Rosie was on the panel too, and it's just like, it was great to have this JCU alumni. Rosie's just like,
she wasn't JCU?
No.
Oh, what?
She's Brisbane, wasn't she?
Yeah.
JCU Brisbane?
No.
No, not JCU, so not alumni.
Damn.
So, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they just need people from Cairns.
They need to
good profile.
rebrand it as like industry experts.
Experts.
Yeah.
You're an expert? We're an experts now.
A specialist.
Other than that was
great.
Fun.
You had to talk to some
year
young...
11 and 12 students
Nice.
thinking of going into business.
Yeah.
And
convince them out of it, or
yeah.
And there's don't do podcasting.
Don't do podcasting. It's not profitable. There was Nikki Gemelli of Bad Fishy.
Oh,
She
yeah.
wrote Bad
She's
Fishy.
done that a few times.
She's
Yeah, what a powerhouse,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial powerhouse. She's done so many
Their
different
story's
businesses.
crazy. Like,
And
from
through
being in
COVID
Sydney.
and all kinds. Yeah, that's right. So it was, that was really cool.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was that.
Get her on.
Yeah,
Come and
it's actually
say.
a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, anything interesting this week?
This week has just been flat out. Honestly, I feel like, I don't know where the week's gone with just how many.
blinked and disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finished last week saying I feel like I'm ahead of my work and stuff like that.
You did mention that.
Yeah. Probably. I guess not, because
No.
like I started Monday and it just felt like there was so many things going wrong. So with
So was it
client
like putting out
projects.
fires, or was it unexpected, or?
Just like unexpected things around client jobs and stuff like that. But it's been good. Get to finally be back in the studio with you boys, and we get to be talking about self-development.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've done a pod.
Yeah, an actual structure. One we just came off a really, really good interview. So vibes are high, motivated, Ready to rock and roll.
We're locked in. So we've got an article today, and true to our style, we've just we're going to read it with you guys. We're going to read the article first because none of us have read it, and we're going to read it to you like a bedtime story.
Get that ASMR going.
Today we're talking about the problem isn't that life is unfair, it's your broken idea of fairness.
Written by
Oliver Emberton, or is that just the website?
Yeah, I think so.
Shout out Oliver.
So shout out Oliver, 258,000 shares.
Yep.
But unless you're winning, most of life will seem hideously unfair to you. So what do we sort of think of that? Life being unfair, especially around going after your goals. Maybe you might not always get what you want. Could be in business, could be in career, could be in, I don't know, even just
all
on personal
perspective,
goals.
baby.
Yeah.
It's like Hormozy just did that clip on Alex Williamson's podcast where he's like the villain and the hero have the same backstory. It's just what you choose to do with it. So is life really unfair? You can't really decide what you do with it.
Yeah.
What you get dealt, you just got to kind of push on and work with it.
That's true.
Which is obviously probably easier said than done, but
It taps back into that like stoicism mindset of sort of just dealing with what actually happens in your life, like what life throws your way.
Absolutely.
And being okay with it, not like having some expectation of what you feel like you deserve out of life.
But what actually is fair? You know what I mean? When it's saying like things aren't fair, like it's like it's likened to success. Like it's obviously so open to interpretation.
Well, the article does allude to some key rules or maxims, and the first one being life is a competition. And you
Interesting take.
And you really, you really have to.
Oh, yes, I need to win it.
You really have to come to grips with that. It's this idea of fairness. I was thinking about it from obviously because I default to like an economic state because of my job. But it's the fairness is like the socialist and the socialism. And the unfairness is the capitalist state and the capitalism, because there are winners and losers, and life really is just a competition.
Yeah.
But being a competition, at least if you suck it up and understand that you're going to have losses, but you'll also have wins. Whereas how can you have losses and wins? How can you go through this, this human condition if life is supposed to be fair? Because then you never win, you never lose, right?
You're just stuck at like an equilibrium.
Well, yeah, you're just on this plateau, and if it's not a competition, how do you grow? How do you push through?
Yeah,
that's so interesting about like that rule that it was talking about, because in life, like you said, we always talk about how it's you against yourself, right? And it was saying in the article how even that term is damaging because like it's getting you to push to your best. To once again, then if you like look at the broader picture, you are in some sort of competition. Yeah. Like in whatever you're doing. It says here like the business you're working for, someone's trying to kill it. Like you might be like, I'm going to just only focus on what I'm doing in my business and do the best that I can. But still, you are out there in a competitive landscape.
100%. I think it's also too, like I know Angela's spoken on it before in the context of his competitors. Like you're always aware of what they're doing, but you don't let it consume you. So you'll do that, kind of quarterly check-in, see what they're doing well, see what they're not doing well. But again, it shouldn't have too much of an emphasis on what you're doing.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What do you think of that though? Because like very much like you could take it to that extreme of being super obsessed and like I'm gonna end this person because they're my competitor. But Mira's laughing behind the camera. But I'm just thinking like
this person.
Have you seen like the Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix? And like how he's like, and that dude looked at me the wrong way, and I made it personal.
Yeah.
Like that's the level that he took it to. Like to that extreme.
Yeah.
Where you're like down that rabbit hole of I have to be better than every single other person because it's a competition.
Do you think there's a difference between competition and comparison?
Yeah.
Because the saying is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
But I think the rule is actually alluding to understand the fact that there is competition.
Yeah.
But then when it comes back to the concept of like happiness and everything like that, it's always don't compare. But there's competition to compare to.
Yeah.
But I think the concepts can be separate if you're smart about it.
And I think playing a game of NBA basketball game versus running a business, like literally the definition of sport and a game is there is a winner and there is a loser. Whereas like when you're running a business, there's, well, I guess this is what the article's alluding to in life and fairness, but there
You can see that to some extremes
you
too.
can still have both parties win.
But with business, I was just talking to you like last week about the book I was reading by Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game.
Yeah.
And that point you just made up of, well, you're not in competition with people in business. That is the premise of the book. And it's, are you playing a finite game where you think you're in competition, and then once you've beaten your competition, you've won business? No one wins business. You're in business as an infinite game. And the game is how long can you keep going for? It's not finite. I need to beat my rival financial planning firm and then I've won at financial planning. It's not. But I know that there's competition out there, but the competition is just with myself, really, from a business perspective.
It's like the only truest form of like revenge to like succeed so far and so much that they're not even in your realm anymore. Like they're not even on your focus, not even your mind. So kind of those regular check-ins kind of are quite adverse to that. That's kind of the opposite. So it's like you just focus on being in competition so much with yourself that you're just in a completely different league, and that they're not even, a thought on your mind.
I think that's the other part of it, is like it is somewhat of an acceptance that there is the competition or the fact that you could lose at whatever you are sort of competing in, I guess. Because that's the other side. You could get so caught up on your identity is around being the number one in your industry or at this particular activity. And then if it doesn't happen, your whole identity crumbles, and you see that happen with a lot of people.
Absolutely. Hectic.
Real too. You're judged by what you do, not what you think.
Interesting take again.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, like, your intentions don't always equal it's their actions. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can intend or not to intend. I think we spoke about this the other night when we were on the phone. Like, you may not have intended for your actions to have a certain behavior, but they're going to be interpreted, and you can't control how they're interpreted regardless of your intentions.
Yeah, people can go into situations with the best intentions to have like the most positive experience with the both parties, but like doesn't mean that's how somebody actually takes it.
Yeah.
So I actually think that rule is really relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that applies as well, like kind of similar to what our previous guest was just saying, how like someone might say they're a business owner and then not even, like they might have just set up a Shopify store or something and haven't sold the product or anything like that. And that's sort of their perceived identity, but like they haven't actually taken the action or proven what they are doing.
Yeah.
Like action speaking louder than words.
Especially like, when we spoke about like how much serotonin you get from talking about your goals rather than actually doing them. If you're one of those people that just goes around and says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to achieve that, but you haven't put pen to paper and started anything. We need to see those actions.
It's the validation again, right?
Yeah.
Like you're sort of seeking that validation, because then if you say that you're going to do this, or
it'd be really interesting to see if they can measure the serotonin that you get from speaking about your goals versus serotonin you actually receive from doing your goals. Like,
Probably could.
Yeah, and I wonder whether it'd be much, like, because when you think about like, telling people that you're nominated for an award or you're going to achieve a certain financial goal versus when you actually hit it, I would say that they're fairly similar.
That rule too, I think, given the whole article is about whether there's fairness in society. So you're judged by what you do, not what you think. So society, I think what that rule is alluding to is society is placing more weight on certain aspects of actions than others. And so if you're a neurosurgeon or a, pediatrician, you, by society's standards, will be treated better and looked upon better than, say, a janitor. But if you're the janitor, are then you taking that and going, well, life's not fair? But that's just a societal construct. Do we just, I suppose, embrace that rule to say that you're judged by what you do, not what you think, and society's putting more weight on something? Because I don't, I suppose, personally really care that I'm not a doctor, so I don't have that social standing in society. And I do the work that I do, but that's not the benchmark I'm personally embracing.
I think my perspective on this is really the acceptance part, because you have to sort of accept that society is this sort of way.
Absolutely.
But then not let it corrupt you. Like, you can still have the best intentions and have like be a virtuous person and say, I think this should be better. But you should also have to recognize that it's not like you're suddenly going to make sure every single teacher or something in Australia is going to get paid $1 million a year for teaching kids. Like, that sounds great and all, but also looking at what is the current landscape and then trying to act on it. Because then you can sort of go down the rabbit hole of feeling like life isn't fair, life isn't the way it should be.
Victim mentality.
It comes back to that comparison though as well.
Yeah.
Like, because if you're comparing yourself and what you do, even if you're the best in your field, to what other people are doing, and then taking in, society thinks that that is better than what I'm doing, it like hurts you. So I agree with the acceptance thing.
Agreed.
And also like accepting it without like any lens through it, I guess. Like, it's not good or bad. Like, that person's a janitor. Like, I know we've talked about this previously, but that person is a janitor. That doesn't mean it's good or bad. Like, for their job role, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And the facts are, like, janitors are going to get paid this amount or however much.
So rule 3, our idea of fairness is self-interest. Okay, so I think it is what it's getting to, it's a very reductive thought process on the world. And it's, if I work hard, I will be rewarded for it in kind. If I show interest in her, she will show interest in me. And we're seeing, and what it's getting to is, we're trying to see life through a very simplistic model of, if I just do one thing, X will be the result. But what it's saying is that's a self-interest lens. And you got to remove the self-interest lens, because even though you don't think it's fair that everyone has the same thought if they work for somebody. I've worked hard. Why didn't I get the pay rise or the promotion? It's purely self-interest. And I didn't even think about what is going through my boss's heads on how he views me as a staff member. He could be under budgetary pressures. He may have stuff going on in his family life and he's overlooked my thing. But we get stuck in this like self-interest bubble. And I think that's what it's alluding to, that you can't be in that viewpoint.
Yeah. But then that's just a little bit of reflection, a bit of perspective to understand that, like, obviously you're not, the main character. It's not everything revolves around you. There's other elements, other people that interact with those decisions. So, just kind of stepping back and looking at things from other people's perspectives.
So being the main character, but then also accepting you're not the main character kind of vibe.
No, I think just understanding that not everything's about you and just trying to see things from other people's perspectives and understanding people's decisions, or attempting to. You're never really going to, because you can't really be someone else. You can't understand everything.
And life isn't fair.
No.
Life.
Just give up.
That's a really positive end note.
Or do what the article is telling, embrace the idea that fairness isn't actually obtainable.
And utilize it when you can.
It's just wishful thinking.
Utilize it when you can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Welcome to capitalism, baby. Yeah.
So accepting that it's unfair.
Absolutely.
Accepting that it's not going to always go the way that you want.
Because you're viewing the world in Brody's lens, and I'm viewing it in Ben's lens, and Cam's viewing it in Cam's lens, and Mira's in Mira's lens, and we each have a different outlook.
Yeah. Could you? And then it talks about, like, what if everything was
That's
fair?
what it's coming to.
Yeah.
That's what this whole thing sums up. Is just that most of us get so hung up on how we think the world should work that we can't see how it does. So you're seeing it for how you think it works, but I think it's how the world works. Then we're going to come to an impasse. Hey, turns out, there's an unfairness there.
Yeah.
But, like, I suppose who gives a shit? But I suppose lots of people do because they can't get over that
hurdle.
It's so interesting trying to like reflect on when, like even personally, I might be feeling like that. Can you guys think of any for yourselves?
Oh, anytime like I've missed out on a job or like it's happening to me at the moment. We're obviously looking for apartments. Our lease is about to end and we've applied for everything. And I'm just like, well, why do we keep getting rejected? Like we, all three of us earn good money. We're good tenants. Yeah. And I'm like why? Well, what it is, I'm just so solely focused, and I'm like, oh, maybe because, you know, someone could earn more money, or they're, you know, potentially older and they don't want, you know, young kids partying there. So yeah, 100% right now, or even, you know, miss out on awards and things like that. You're like, but you know, I work so hard for it, or you know, miss out on school captain in grade 12. You're like, oh, like it should have been me. Da 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 da. But then you don't see the work and values and opinions that other people have.
That's so true. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be homeless.
You
in 2
literally
weeks,
just summed up the whole article in your life experience right now of trying to search for a home. Summed up that whole article.
Brody's like, oh, have you like maybe had any type of experience with this before? I'm like, yep, 100%, exactly what the article says.
You just recounted your whole life and like, yeah, that was amazing.
Kev's life is unfair.
Oh my god, it's so hard being a straight white male. Fuck.
Oh god.
With both parents going to a private school.
Parents still together, loving.
Went to uni.
Yeah. So yeah, life's unfair. I just deal with it. It is what it is.
Is it unfair or fair? Is that the actual argument, or some lives are just better than others?
But it's what you define as better too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's how you define fair.
And
It's back to that thing of like, you gotta play the hand you're dealt.
And our thoughts. It talks about the concept of like what is if life was actually fair. I guess it's kind of come up a couple times when we talk about like equality versus equity and things like that. Like what if we all had an even playing field? We're all born, you know, in the same country with the same parents, financial backing, opportunities and privileges. That'd actually be pretty intense. I wonder what that would be like.
Yeah.
I don't think you could.
pretty intense, yeah.
I don't think society would work like that. I don't think it would. It could succeed. Surely there's been some films
doesn't.
like that. Yeah. You have to have social classes. You have to have separation.
Because it doesn't work in socialist countries like Cuba and Vietnam and China, North Korea.
What's the setup there? What's the structure?
Isn't it something like in those instances, because you have people that, again, if you're taking away the desire or motivation to actually move up.
Oh, so it's like countries where like doctors get paid the same as like teachers or
everyone
something like that?
Everyone gets like 10 bread rolls or 10, like this amount of money or whatever. Yeah. Everyone gets paid equally.
Yes. The state owns the resources. That's socialism. So everyone's kind of equal, but it doesn't work. That's the thing. That's why there's only like 5 technically socialist countries in the world. But it's, this could go down a huge rabbit hole. But like if you take China, for example, where they have a social credit system. Yeah. So, but there's a ruling class and elite. So they want socialism at a political level, but they don't want it at a economic level. So 100% China is capitalist state, but they are 100% socialist and communist when it comes to politics. Yeah. So they want their cake and they want to eat it too. Yeah. So, but it doesn't work. Like the countries have tried it over the millennia and it doesn't work. That's why we're capitalism, because people want to get to that next level. Yeah. They don't want to be born at the same level. No. They want to bootstrap it up from nothing to something.
It's the definition of the American dream. You know, it's like everyone starts, you know, from the bottom and works their way up to top. There's this guy that does interviews in Miami. He's originally from Austin, Texas, and he just goes around like really affluent areas and talks to, you know, billionaires, millionaires, and like one of the first questions he always asks is like, oh, have you ever been broke before?
Oh yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 their answer is like, oh yeah, but I was absolutely, you know, broke. I've been broke multiple times, and it's funny, they almost wear it like a kind of a thing of pride. It's like, I didn't have any privileges, like no one handed me anything. Like I've literally I've worked out from the ground. And I think, it's obviously, it's a reoccurring thing that keeps coming in. It really pushes like to what we said, that American dream. It's like I started from nothing and this is what I've built, and I did it all by myself.
Yeah.
It's not, I guess if it worked for them, but it's really.
I think it's what you said, right? Because like some people might take it as, oh,
Yeah, I
I
guess that's
grew
how
up with
perspective.
nothing, so
Yeah.
now I want to make something.
And have everything.
And the other person might be like, I grew up with nothing. I feel like I can't do anything because I
Yeah.
was,
Didn't have those
didn't
opportunities.
have those opportunities.
Hero or villain? Choose your story.
Drop it in the comment.
Yeah. Anti-hero. Actually,
Yes.
did you see Kim Jong-un? Did you see what happened in the news?
No.
With the floods?
No.
The
What
flood.
happened?
What happened?
Flood. I'll get it up while we're having a conversation. Floods took out like 3,000 people, and he executed 40 people, and basically said it was their fault. So the
What?
flood took out. I'll get the.
He executed 40 people
Yeah.
because it was their fault that it flooded.
Yeah.
Like natural disaster flood.
Yep.
And then blamed people.
Yep.
Whoa.
Listen to this. I'll read the. North Korea reportedly executes 30 officials in purge over flood response.
What?
So, North Korea reportedly executed 30 officials last month over their alleged failure to mitigate the devastation caused by the floods and landslides that killed over 4,000 people. The officials were charged with corruption and declaration of duty. South Korean outlet TV responded. The floods in July also dissipated more than 15,000 people. According to North Korean news reports, the flooding caused widespread destruction in the northwestern city and neighbouring 4,100 homes and over 7,400 hectares. How crazy is that? Literally natural disaster. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on it or you don't maybe want to speak on it, but I just saw that come up in the news and I was like, that is insane. Like literally, there could be more there to it. Obviously, a news article is supposed to kind of hook you in, but I saw that came up. Imagine like we literally had the floods that devastated Cairns 8 months ago. Imagine like you're working for the council and you didn't do everything you could. You didn't work overtime or you made a wrong decision to mitigate the floods and the damage and you literally got executed over it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
That's
it
wild.
is just such a different world that we're living in.
I want to know, how did they get that news?
Yeah, I know nothing makes it out of. It's probably got leaked or something. They have such a good control on the media. Surely there are people that can leak stuff. I don't know what their data prevention and thing like that is.
Not a North Korean expert.
No. You don't have an opinion on it?
I did. Oh,
Not really.
Is this the
Do you?
segue? I read a book called Ask a North Korean, and it was
Yeah.
based
Oh.
on the really popular blog Ask a North Korean, and it's all about asking defectors
Yeah.
of
yeah.
everything you want to know about a North Korean. How did you escape? What do you eat? What do you do for fun? Where do you get clothes? What job do you have? Like it really,
insane.
really cool. And news gets out and things get in on like USBs and stuff. So they'll know about, the TV show Friends and Seinfeld and stuff through USBs.
There's this clip where they invited an American reporters into this school to show, I think it was a school, it was a college, like a university, saying like, hey, look, like we still provide an amazing learning experience without, because they're not allowed the internet and things like that. And they take them through the computer labs where all the kids, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Where they're sitting on the computers and they just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
They're literally just sitting there staring at a black
something
screen.
like everyone was sitting there and then like only one person was like actually clicking.
Moving it.
moving and
So-
stuff. And even
But
then he
Google was
was
just like
a blank
plastered.
screen. Yeah, and you still had no idea. Like that is absolutely insane. But I try not to, obviously not super educated on that.
Go down the rabbit
experience.
hole.
Yeah, so I try not to speak on things that I'm not super educated on.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to have an opinion on things? Like this is pretty massive topic. We could obviously talk about all like
Different things.
what North Korea is like, but
Yeah.
do you even have to have an opinion?
Like you guys know I'm pretty unfiltered. Mira's like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, yes. I will say like 90% of the time, like whatever I'm thinking. My biggest thing is I don't like speaking on things that I'm not educated on because I don't want to look stupid.
Oh.
So rather than being like, I shouldn't talk about money or religion or
Self-interest.
politics because like I may upset the wrong person, it's more, I don't want to come across as like
Ignorant.
unintelligent or ignorant
Oh, yeah,
or unintellectual. So that's always my perspective. But I feel like if like I'm always in the right room with people where like I value and feel safe around them, like I'll pretty much always speak about anything. What do you think?
Oh, and you'll like just bring up your opinion.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
say whatever. I think like if you spent the time building a group of people around you that are receptive and then aren't going to make you, feel stupid for asking a question, and you all have a genuine interest in knowledge and wanting to learn, then you're in a pretty safe place. But if you're in a workplace or a new friendship group or around acquaintances and you don't feel the same, you don't know everyone, like I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what your beliefs, values and opinions are, so I know which things not to speak about.
Withhold.
Yeah, which is not much. Obviously, the more I get to know you guys and you guys kind of, get to know me. But yeah, I can't think of many times when I wouldn't speak about something. What about you?
Oh, it depends on the social circle that you're operating in, because to answer the question in short, no, you don't have to have an opinion on everything, or at least I don't think I need to have an opinion on everything.
Yeah.
Yes, similar vein to your point of, if I'm not educated on the topic, it's not the hill I'm willing to die on.
Yeah.
The counter argument that people throw at you is, well, why don't you educate yourself on Israel and Palestine and the war in Gaza? Okay, because a lot of the Western world is taking a certain side on which one to barrack for, so to speak.
Yeah.
If that's an example, that is such a nuanced concept to delve into an argument. People taking sides in the Western world who have no connection at all to Palestinians or Israelis or anything to do with it, but they're so staunchly supportive of either side. My approach to that is I don't feel the need to get behind something that is so far removed from my daily living. And if I can't have any iota of an impact on it, on taking a side, that means it does not come into my purview. So, but then the argument is always, well, you should educate yourself because it's a big, geopolitical concept. And my response is, no, I really don't, because they're going to keep fighting for the next 1,000 years, regardless of whether you raise some money for them. That's my view and approach. It could be too brash for some, but if I tried to have an opinion on everything, I would be so tired and I would get nothing done. There's only so much time in a day to research, and I research the things that bring me direct joy or direct growth. And taking a side so I can flex it in a social situation doesn't do anything.
Do you think
for me.
it's important to be educated on it but not have an opinion on it?
Aware. I'm aware. Absolutely. But it's a war that's been going on for over 1,000 years. I can't. How can I take a side
I tried to watch
a
YouTube video on it and it was like 2.5 hours.
Oh,
it will keep going after our lifetime. It will keep going. There's no solution to it.
What about you? Where do your opinions lie?
What do I believe? No, I agree. I don't think you need to have an opinion on everything, especially like similar in that case. I think you can still try to understand it.
You can be empathetic to someone's understanding.
Doesn't mean you're oblivious to what's going on and you're just like putting blinders on.
My personal experience with this was like, so grade 11. So this is why I will never have like an opinion on something that like hasn't like directly affected me. Grade 11, we had like study of religion and we were talking about like morals and ethics, and we went through like all the big, ethical debates like execution, like all the ones, and then we kind of got on to like pro-life versus pro-choice. And obviously being a Catholic school, they were very, very kind of like pro-life and kind of approach this conversation with that bias in head. So being like, we don't have a bias, but they obviously had a bias. And so like, being 16, quite malleable and things like that, we went home to dinner that night and we were talking about it, and I was like staunchly like pro-life. I was like, this is why reasons, because I read this today. They told me this. And my sister absolutely ripped me a new one and just absolutely destroyed me. And she's like, you're not a female. You never lived this. And it was so true. And obviously had some life experiences then and such a different choice. But that was the first time where I was like, this is a decision that will never affect me or my body. It's got nothing to do with me. But being in that position where I was so starkly one-sided when it had absolutely nothing to do with me. And that's like the first and last time I was like, does this affect me? Can I affect it? No, don't need an opinion on it.
Yeah.
So I learned that one the
Some
hard
learning
way.
lessons.
Shout out,
True.
Cass.
That's
Yeah.
real life.
Yeah.
Good job.
What
Full
about
memory.
What about you, Mira? What's your position on it?
I'm basically the same as you guys. If it
Yeah.
doesn't affect me and I'm not educated on it, I'm not going to go throwing hands like I know what I'm saying. I think same thing is being aware of stuff and having empathy for the things that are going on in like different countries is a different story to me being like, well, I think this is right and this is wrong. And yeah, I'm much the same as you guys.
So where do you stand? Because I know, like, obviously when, like, the George Floyd stuff with Black Lives Matter and everything, that surfaced, the whole thing with, like, not, like, the whole thing of not speaking up is just as bad as, like, supporting it. Like, from that perspective, like, like, no voices, thing like that. It's like, everyone agree. I think we're all in unison and in agreement that, like, oh, if we haven't got personal experience with it or it doesn't affect us, we won't speak on it. But are you doing something wrong by, like, not supporting the cause?
I was just gonna ask, do you think it's a strength or a weakness being a fence sitter? Because do you feel like do you feel in your gut you need to take a side?
Yeah.
Because it's like a conviction, like a human thing. Like, I just need to get behind something. Whereas being a fence sitter it's not in your DNA makeup. Like for you, if I said, oh, Cam's a fence sitter, no, not at all. That is not your personality. So where do you stand? Do you think it's actually a sign of strength to step back and be like, I'm okay not having a
Probably
view.
on the fence on this one.
Unbelievable.
I think it comes back to your values then, right? Like what are your values?
Yeah.
What are your values and what is something that you strongly believe like this is right?
Do you think it's an ego thing too to have an opinion on everything?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, to assume that you're, like, intelligent enough and,
Yeah.
and educated enough that your life experience and your values gives you the right to be able to speak on everything.
Yeah, 100%. I reckon when you're a 16-year-old little kid,
Yeah.
you're like, I know everything. I've had every life experience.
Cameron
ever.
and
So
ego
opinionated.
does not sound right. Try again.
What about that idea though of like, is it doing the right thing is the right thing in terms of doing the right thing, no matter like if you get recognized for it, if you get feedback about it,
I think
knowing that you did the right thing. Like
Yeah.
Like putting your trolley back in the trolley bay
the trolley
with no
theory.
one watching.
Yeah.
We've touched on this before when we were talking about, like, influencers and when they, film them changing a homeless person's
We
life.
did talk about this, yeah.
Regardless of what they're doing and what their motive is, you're still helping
It's still a
someone
good
at the
deed.
end of the day. A good deed's a good deed, whether 1,000 people see it or no one sees it. You're still, bettering someone's life. I think it's just you get a little extra gratification and kickback for doing it. But it's like, what helps you sleep at night?
Unless that's like the hit that you need, then it becomes the hit of like, I need to get another 10,000 views on this video of me
Yeah, but-
helping someone.
Again, you're still helping someone. It's the same thing. Like, if you only go to gym to create a physique that other people are gonna, comment on and say how good you look, you're still, going to the gym every single day and physically improving yourself, and it's better for your health. Like, your heart doesn't care whether you're doing cardio to impress other people or
Isn't
for
that-
your own self.
Do you reckon that's destination over journey then that you're talking about?
Let me think about this properly. So you're focused on the end result rather than actually doing it.
Because if you go into the... Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Because if you go into the gym
Yeah.
to just only get the body and the recognition you're going to get from it.
No, because you're still reaping the rewards along the way. So it goes back to what your motivation is. And as long as the outcome is, the destination or the outcome is still a positive outcome, I don't really think it matters what the motivation to take you on that journey is.
So your take on this, your opinion.
Yeah.
your opinion on this is, doesn't matter what your goal is in the gym.
Yeah.
Even if it's like to be fucking 1% body fat.
Yeah.
So you get recognition from everyone saying how good you look.
Yeah.
That's still a good goal.
Yeah,
And you should go after that.
if you're a person that goes to gym 5 days a week, two different people, you go there 5 days a week. One day you put a story up every single day looking for validation and to get love and support, or whether you're going just because it's a routine or whatever it is, both of those are going to have the same result physically. So it doesn't matter what your motivation or what your reason to be there is.
What about mentally?
Well,
But then, oh my God, I'm having a brainwave. This is perfectly tying back to the article that we started about fairness. If the example was you were doing volunteer work,
yeah.
but you were posting it on social media, that is more weight than someone sitting on the couch who thinks that they're a better person than that person who is posting their action. The thing is, by volunteering, you've actually helped somebody. So that was the action. But that article about fairness is that society actually puts more weight on the action as opposed to the virtuous thought. Therefore, is life actually fair? Because I'm with you that even if you had to post your results on social media about us doing the push-up challenge and you were flexing, but we raised more money than the person who wasn't flexing and didn't raise any money, then surely society is going, well, the action speaks louder than the words, and those guys still raised money even if they were doing it, they were going about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I think if it comes back to fairness, I think, well, that's kind of like the society that we've built. It's putting more weight on action rather than the inherent words or the thought.
And sorry, cool.
And what you're saying is, like in the push-up challenge example, you're saying even if one of us only did the push-up challenge to post about it and get the
validation,
likes, the validation from it, at least they still did it. Like
100%.
That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or again, like all three of us do it. We do it for three completely different reasons. All of us are going to have the physical benefits from doing the challenge at the end of the 30 days rather than someone that didn't.
So to your point about journey over destination, we all got to the same destination. The
But our
journey
journey
was
is
different.
And our motivation to be on
And
the
the
journey was
motivation,
different.
yeah. But if the destination is so black and white, raised money for charity, who's arguing with that?
Yeah.
Like, short from if we raise that money through fraud and I defrauded my company to get the money, okay. That's
Rabbit holes.
So,
No, but this is what I'm saying though. Has anyone here watched The Good Place?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a
you
long
have watched
time
that?
ago,
Yeah. So the whole thing is like, the whole concept is like everything that you do, every action on earth has an allotted point system to it. And basically when Judgment Day comes and you pass away, whatever, whether you're in the positive or negative decides whether you go to the good place or the bad place.
Yeah.
And they actually...
China took that literally.
Yeah.
The social credit system. Sorry, continue.
And it ended up saying like that the system was broken in the end and everyone ended up going to the bad place because like even if you jump in your car to go to do Oz Harvest, to go pick fruit for the homeless, the carbon emissions from your car
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
And that's the thing, like again you go, and they had an example in the show where someone went like completely vegan, lived off the thing, and even living this lifestyle that they perceived as no repercussions, still had other things that were negative. So again, it's always going to come back to perception.
But life's not fair.
No.
And what is society going to value more? I think society would value probably because it's more in the limelight, me picking fruit for homeless people as opposed to the greenies getting sad because I drove to do volunteer work. I think society's going to put value on both of those things and go, one outweighs the other.
Perceived.
And it's not fair. Okay, whatever. You took a side. I took a side.
And it's not fair and you just deal with it.
So even if you need validation to pick those vegetables, you're still doing it. So go take action.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And post that story, baby.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for listening. Adios.
Nice.
Bye.